Hey, it's Ira Whiteside back with you for another round of AI analysis via statistics. Today, we're diving into something I get asked about all the time. Can chat-based AI actually see what a human consultant does when it comes to real business metadata? Maybe you remember in episode 8, we walked through how agentic AI leans pretty heavily on metadata to drive document generation and frequency analysis. Now, that set the stage, but today's a little more head-to-head. So, let's kick this off with what happens when you point a chat system at good old AdventureWorks 2022, specifically the database metadata for production, purchasing, and sales. Here's the first thing the AI picks out. Frequent nulls. Like it's all over it. Product table, tons of nulls for color, size, unit measures. I mean, black shows up a lot, 93 times as the color. It'll rattle off that status 4 is the dominating revision like 3,800 plus times for purchase orders, or that every store and customer record got updated at the exact same minute in 2014. The AI just rolls through those numbers like it's narrating a spreadsheet on turbo. But, and this is a big but, when you ask it, what does this mean? That's where it starts to trip. See, the chat's basically blind to reason. Take those null heavy columns. It spits out counts, but doesn't get operational fallout. I ran into this myself. I had it summarize all the columns with nulls, and it just sort of dumped a list. No hint that maybe those missing values line up with legacy system gaps after a migration, or a business rule that says, don't track size on these products. Nothing like that. Mechanical pattern reporting like, look, a spike, but no filter for, does this matter for the shop floor, or a sales forecast? Same goes for those weird mass update events. The AI will spot them, sure. Hey, all modified dates are identical for September 12, 2014. Helpful, yes, but again, it doesn't ask why. Was that a data load, a reorg, a system upgrade? It just says data changed here and moves on, which is, well, it's information, but it's not insight. I guess what I'm trying to say is the pattern recognition is solid, but context, that's just not in the AI's vocabulary, at least in any useful way. All right, so what happens when you drop a human, someone who's lived in the weeds of data profiling and consulting, into that same AdventureWorks pool? This is where things get interesting. For one, a seasoned consultant doesn't just see that status 4 is showing up a lot on purchase orders. They start asking questions. Why do we have so many mature purchase orders? Is that normal for the cycle, or is something holding up closure? Are we seeing a bottleneck or just a business process that needs a little tuning? And here's a story that kind of sums up what I mean. I was on site with a manufacturing client, a pretty big shop, and we had reports showing frequent status codes on jobs. On paper, everything looked fine. Nothing failed, processes rolling along, just a sea of 4s everywhere. But standing on the shop floor, chatting with operations, it turned out those status codes actually masked a bottleneck. Orders were stuck waiting on a part, but since the code didn't switch, AI flagged, all good, boss. Meanwhile, the business was bleeding efficiency. That's not something a machine spots unless you train it specifically for that kind of diagnostic thinking. And those big identical modified dates? Sure, maybe that's a mass update, but a human knows to dig. Was this post-migration, a global price change, or did we stub our toe on an ETL? AI might just give you, well, here's the pattern. For a business, that's just step 1. You need the why and the what next. That's where experience, conversation, context with the client, all those hours in workshops or on the floor, come together to tell you what really needs fixing. And to tie this back to what we talked about in previous episodes, maybe episode 4, when we dissected AdventureWorks' default patterns and cluster dates, it's that sense of, that's weird, let's poke at that. That's always coming from lived experience. Patterns are easy. Meaning? That's where the human earns their paycheck. Let's pull this all together. Where does the AI chat shine, and when do you absolutely want boots on the ground? The AI is unbeatable at chewing through massive tables, surfacing things like a credit card expiring in 2007 or 2006, older than, well, I want to say most of the software I used as a junior analyst. It'll catch a whole database when you ask about schema coverage or hit you with a frequency list for, say, order quantities or line totals in seconds. That's fantastic if your data is clean, you know what spikes you care about, and you just need a haystack sorting robot. But let's be honest, when fields are null, or when you find those database oddities, a pileup of identical timestamps, a flood of one color in the product list, you really need insight. That's where humans come in. It takes a consultant to say, those old credit card years, that's not a quality issue, that's a customer history opportunity. Or, yeah, status 4 every time? Go ask production about it. Maybe there's a policy you never heard about. There was this hybrid case not long ago. AI flagged a mess of outdated cards, and on paper, it looked like a data quality cleanup job. But after we poked around, turns out those customers just hadn't made a purchase in years. Not a data issue, a segmentation insight. That's the sweet spot when humans and machines can work together. The tech finds what's weird. The human figures out why it matters. So look, as much as I love what AI brings to the table, it's the ultimate pattern hunter. Real value is in the story those patterns tell. Sometimes you run with the algorithm. Sometimes you got to make the call, show up, and talk it out with the people behind the data. That's about all for today. Next time, we're going to keep digging into where automated analysis and experience collide, probably with a fresh set of data headaches to unravel. See you then.